Hi, everybody. Welcome. This week's episode of Five Haunting Questions, I have invited my friend and wonderful ghost hunter along, Kassy from Weeping Willow Paranormal. Hey, Kassy.
Hey,
Wonderful ghost hunter. Do you like that one?
thank you. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
That's good. That's good. So, for everybody who might be watching you for the first time, which I highly doubt because you've got lots of followers, but if there's no one that knows what you do, would you like to explain your channel, please?
Okay, so I'm Weeping Willow is a paranormal investigation channel. We mostly we kind of we're based in Canada, Ontario, Canada, but we do kind of travel around. But we're Canadian, so we try to promote more Canadian locations, just because that's where we're from. So
Yeah, and it's a lot easier for you to get to the locations as well, and
exactly.
cheaper.
And cheaper, yeah.
And so in regard to doing this, I know, but many don't, the passion for what you do, like how did it start? Where did your passion for all this start?
So basically, I've always been interested in the paranormal. Ever since I was a young kid, I would read books and about paranormal. I never watched those ghost hunter shows on TV because we didn't have the channel, so I never didn't know those existed. I only knew about like Haunted Canada books or Haunted Ontario books, or like Goosebump books or like creepy books. That's why I knew about paranormal. So I've always been fascinated. In grade 7, I did like a speech on Bermuda Triangle. So I've always been interested in like the weird and unexplained, basically. And then I want to say in about 2019, I discovered YouTube. I knew about YouTube, but I discovered the paranormal side of YouTube, and I started watching the investigations. I realized that was actually a thing. It wasn't like I didn't realize it was a thing to be doing and posting and whatnot. So I was watching, a very avid watcher of paranormal. And then I basically, in 2021 is when I started my channel, but a little bit before, so March is when I opened up my channel. I didn't start posting until July of 2021. But I was thinking, I'm like, you know what, maybe I should start investigating. Maybe I can do this. I'll just buy a cheap camera from Amazon and I'll have a little bit of equipment. And I wasn't thinking YouTube at all. And my really good friend Crow of Judas, he best friend, he told me, he's like, just do like post to YouTube. And I was like, YouTube? Like, I don't know how to edit. I am not tech savvy, guys. I'm like I should say I'm the least tech savvy person, but I'm not very knowledgeable. Like, I don't have any graphic design background. I have nothing. Like, I'm I'm in social work. Like, computers are not my thing. So I was really like, I don't know. And then we kept talking about it. And then if you guys know me at all, I get an idea in my head and I run with it. So what happened was I was like, okay, girl, I'll do this. And I literally took off running and I haven't stopped. So, and that's how I got started. So, and then initially it was with my husband. At the time, he was a very huge skeptic. He was not interested in investigations at all. So I had a classmate named Reese. I'm in school, or was in school for massage therapy, and she liked creepy things. And then so I asked her to come along to help me, and it just turned out she stayed on, and Ron backed off of the investigation because all he was doing was really camera work. Reese too, but Reese is really good with the investigation aspect too. Ron knew very, very little about the paranormal at the time.
And probably being a skeptic too, he didn't want to do that bit, whereas Reese is more a believer. Yeah,
exactly. So a lot of the sensory depth questions, he wouldn't know what to ask. So it was really awkward for him. So bringing Reese on, it just made sense at the time. And now that we had our experience in Virginia City, my husband, Ron, he was like, okay. And now he's gung ho and awesome.
Yeah, now he gets very upset if he can't come along.
Exactly. So yeah. So right now we're a team of 3. So it originally was just 2 of us and then 3.
So Kassy, just in case some of the people don't know, have you got any, apart from what obviously we've seen together and what you've seen on investigations, anything that happened to you before all of this started? Like any experience that you had on a personal level that you thought, wow, that's weird, or anything like that?
So this is gonna be very real, and now it's out into Karen's universe of YouTube. So I've always had experiences ever since I was very little. It's gonna sound absolutely crazy. So even the fact I'm talking out loud about this, but I might as well.
No, go for it.
And you guys, I gotta believe what I'm saying. So yeah. Anyways, okay. So ever since I was very, very little, like I would say, my earliest memory, I would have been probably like 6 years old. I would hear things, like hear voices, I guess. I never could understand them. They were always like sped up, like super fast. And when I would hear them, I would see things, like little faces and stuff. So forever, like as long as I can remember, I had that issue. And then when I was in my, like, I would say grade 6, and was it about grade 6 and up, it was still happening. And so I was taken to like the hospital, like to get checked out, make sure that my brain was, I had like sleep deprived tests, make sure my brain was fine. It was fine. Nothing was wrong. They couldn't find anything wrong. And so growing up in the church, if you know my background a little bit, we just chalked it up to spiritual warfare. If you believe anything in like the whole church realm, but there's spiritual gifts, and mine was discernment. So basically it's like intuition type of thing, right? So that was kind of what I never could understand them. They happened randomly. A lot of times it would happen when people would be telling me their life story, and I would get them, and I would just like ignore it. And then sometimes I would have to I would pray it away because it was like spiritual warfare. I never understood it. And then I kind of blocked it out for a lot of years. And really until recently, like within the last maybe 2 years, I've really realized what it was. So like I've heard like people say like with spirits, or if it's like spirit guides or whatever. So I don't really know exactly, but I definitely feel it's like in the realm of paranormal that's happening. As you guys can see in my investigations, I'm quite like sensitive to things, right? I feel things.
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily see things all the time on an investigation, but I feel things a lot, either being touched or I can feel like the room, that type of thing.
And you sometimes hear what we don't. You sometimes, didn't you hear that? And we haven't heard it, but then later on when you go through your evidence, you can actually pick it up sometimes, and sometimes not, because you don't always pick up what you can hear. But yeah, I certainly noted that when we were investigating together, me being a newbie and not doing it before, but absolutely, whenever you would feel like, especially at the Mackie Mansion, guys, if you haven't seen it, go check out Kassy's Mackie Mansion episode. But I was in that room with you when you said, can someone put the camera on that little doll in the corner? And we all put it on the, whatever it was on the other side. We all went to the wrong side. But the stories in the Mackie Mansion were that of a little girl called Emma, who is known to be seen. And Kassy actually thought she was looking at a little doll. And then when we all realized what she was doing and put the cameras on that corner, there was nothing there. But I know some people watching this might go, oh, what a load of rubbish. But I know Kassy very well. And for Kassy to have said she saw that, I believe her. And you had only just been touched shortly before that too, just sort of on your lower part of your leg. And then I think the touching was before you saw in the corner, I'm pretty sure. But check that episode out, guys, on the Weeping Willow, the Mackie Mansion. There's 3, I think 2 or 3 parts. Yeah,
there's 3 parts, but I believe that was part 2. But yeah, that's the thing too, because like I've never seen apparitions or spirits on investigations like that. Like I've seen shadow movement, or like mostly like shadow or something out of the corner of your eye that you're like, did I see that? But never like that's a person. So when I saw that little girl, like I can still picture her. I guess like that's the thing too. Like my mind is trying to reason it out, because I'm like, that has got to be a doll, because like it was so lifelike. I picture it like it was not like super. It was solid, but not like fully in focus. But it was enough to be like, like if you're looking at something far away, it kind of had like that blurriness of it. So I thought, plus I need glasses. So it's like, that's all. I mean, I have them, I just don't wear them. But I got that look, but I can picture like the dress, the hair, like the face of her, everything. I've had like spirits show up at my house while I'm half asleep and whatever a few times, but that was my first time on an investigation where I was like, holy, you know? So
actually, I must get you to look one of the episodes somewhere, either you or maybe Jason, because Jason did some episodes there too, guys, the Cemetery Road. But the picture of the family, and Emma is in that picture with her brother Peter. I never thought to ask you to have a look and see if that was anything similar to what you saw.
Oh, I'll have to look back.
Yeah, have a look and see. If not, I don't know. We'll find the picture. But yeah, it's a beautiful photo there.
Yeah, we definitely.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you now. Sorry.
Oh no. You're talking. I was interrupting, so it's all good.
No. But yeah, you're definitely. I guess from what you're describing, it'd be interesting to see what others might question, or from what you're describing, how you were when you were little. I don't mean to make a joke to a movie, but I see dead people. You might actually be some kind of, I don't know what not a medium, but maybe, and little kids, as they say, little kids can be very sensitive and have, friends and things that, that people go, oh, that's just her little, imaginary friend.
Yeah.
But it might be more that you're just more sensitive and they feel that, so they try to talk to you, and that's probably what they were doing when you were little.
Yeah, and I mean that was up. Like I heard things up until like I remember waking up Ron and like be like because of the church again. Like now I have a whole different view on this whole thing. Yeah. But I would wake him up and like we need to pray because it's happening. Like it would be like we were married. Like it happened. Within. Like, I don't know if my life just got so busy because having 5 kids, like, I just don't know what happened. And it just kind of stopped for a time period. And it's actually kind of, I've been tracking it now, and it's happened like twice, I think, in the last like 2 months or something. So I don't know. I don't really know. I write down like when it happened and stuff. So I don't really know what is happening. Like when I saw them, it wasn't like I saw like a figure or anything either. It was like I just saw like the eyes and like kind of like a fuzzy face. So it was never like I remember like looking out a window and like I'm like waking my parents up because I'm like there's someone looking in my window and there's no one there. Or like one time when I was very little, my parents I don't remember that story. My parents told me they were driving and they were pulling into like a parking lot, and I just started freaking out saying that I could see and hear whatever, and they had to pull over because they thought I was going to jump out of the car. Like it was like, so that was like younger than I can remember. So I don't know. I can't really explain it. So hopefully you guys don't think I'm crazy, but
no, nobody thinks you're crazy. It's intriguing because you're coming from a very religious background, and now with what you do, you're sort of looking into, you're looking at it different. Same with Ron. Ron also, Kassy's husband, very religious and skeptical until he came to Virginia City with Kassy and had an experience of his own that he couldn't quite explain. So he's still a bit skeptical, but far more open. Like he can't explain what happened to him, so that's why he's very interested now. But yeah, so it's all it's very it's interesting. It's cool.
It is, and I think that's why that's probably what stemmed like my my interest in the weird, because I always had these like stories. I always love mysteries. I always, you know what I mean? Anything weird I was drawn to, and it was that I just didn't really put 2 and 2 together until now, really in the last like year, 2 years. Yeah. So
and as you get older, maybe now that you know what's actually happening, and it's great that you write it down, but now that you know what's happening, you might actually be able to sort of develop that a little bit more. You know, hey, you could be our own ghost whisperer, like what's her name on the show?
Oh my god. I love you.
Yeah, that's her. She's gorgeous, isn't she? I used to love that show. Anyway,
Me too.
I digress. Now I don't know if you saw. Well, I do know you did see my interview with Crow, but one of the questions I asked him was about aliens and all that sort of thing. What's your view on that? Aliens and spaceships, and what do you
I
reckon?
believe in it. Like I would have said, if you asked me like 5 years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't know. Even though I love sci-fi stuff, so it's like I would have been like, but now I'm like, yeah, like I believe anything. I had like, there's too many weird things, especially talking to Crow about UFOs and stuff. Like,
Yeah, Crow.
yeah, he's so knowledgeable. Like, kind of pushed me like, okay, like looking at different things in a different way. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, like you know what I mean. I definitely think, and like cryptids, like in that whole realm, I believe in it.
In Ireland, with the cryptid type things that you believe in as well. In Ireland, there's places where they are not allowed to build. So, for example, if they're putting a road through, and they believe in fairies.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not fairies, pretty wings, and just the little people who live there. And if you disturb their land or do anything, you'll be cursed. So when they put a road through in some of these places, I'm not sure what part of Ireland, it could make a difference as to what part of Ireland it's in, but they will build the road around a mound. Like they won't go through where it's supposed to be, that the fairies live. So to me, although people laugh and go, oh, no such thing as Bigfoot, no such thing as fairies, no such thing as, some cryptid animal. How do they know? We don't know. We don't even know where they come from. And enough people say they see these things. And for a whole country to actually, for a road structure company to say, yeah, no, we'll go around that, there has to be something in it. So yeah, I'm a bit like that. I'm open to it all. I'm not saying I absolutely believe, because some people do make up rubbish and pretend they see things that they don't.
Yeah.
But I'm open to it because
Yeah.
we just don't know, do we?
No.
Yeah. And so I was going to ask, this is my silly question. All right. This is my silly question. I always ask someone a silly question. When you get home at night, what do you prefer doing most? Kicking off your shoes? Does that feel really good? Or ripping off the bra?
Shoes. I'm always bare. Like right now I have slippers on because it's like we have a snowstorm happening right now. But normally I'm barefoot, no socks. Like I'm barefoot. Like if I'm as soon as I can, I walk outside like to our garage. It's winter and if there's no snow on like the route to my garage, I'm in bare feet. So definitely taking the shoes off.
Oh, well, you're like me. Actually, I was going to say something to you when you said it, but I thought, no, I'm not going to interrupt you. You mentioned that in year 7 that you did a Bermuda Triangle project.
Yeah.
Guess who else did that in year 7?
You?
Yeah, I did. I did
That's
a whole.
Weird.
It was for English. My English class. The teacher wanted us to get up and give a presentation to the class. So we had to do a project, and I did mine on the Bermuda Triangle. And back in the day, there was no internet or anything like that, so it was all done via the library. So I had to find books and things, and the kids have got it lucky nowadays with the internet. But I did it all that way. I got an A+.
I can't remember what I got, but I had to write out the cue cards. And back then too, I didn't have like internet either. Like that wasn't. I didn't even know when internet. Anyways, it was by books too. I remember going to the library specifically, and like I remember like actually that was like a core memory that just happened in my brain when you were mentioning that. So I remember like going to the library and looking at those books because I used to. I mean, I lived at the library. Like I used to get grounded from the library if I got in trouble. Like that was my punishment. Like people got punished from like you can't watch TV. Mine was like you can't go to the library. So
wow, I used to love the library. Because we didn't have the internet. We had TV and stuff, but it wasn't. It was just good. I'd go down the library and pull books, and I would read all up about things like that. So I was also, when I was a teenager, very interested in it. Plus, it didn't help that when I was around about 10 or 11, my mother got very interested in getting her fortune told all the time. Am I going to get married again? She never did. But she would have seances in our house, and she'd write the alphabet on little pieces of paper and make like a, thing to slide like a mini Ouija board. I didn't know it. Yeah, she'd ask us to sit there as children and put our fingers on the glass because she needed extra people. So from that day on, I sort of started to get interested in it. And yeah, but the library, I was fascinated. I'd read everything I could get my hand. And there wasn't. I don't know what it was like when you went, but it wasn't easy. Chariots of the Gods, a book I got, which I cannot remember the name of now, but it wasn't really easy to get books about aliens and things like that, or the Bermuda Triangle. It just wasn't easy. How do you find it? Do you remember?
I can't remember because I remember like specifically the library. I remember like there was different sections of like for like the kids books or whatever when I started reading. I went upstairs to there was like basement and upstairs like for the kids library. It was a really little library. And I remember there were just sections of things, but I don't remember it being that difficult. Like I don't remember, but then again, I mean,
well, there's quite an age gap between you and I too. So I'm talking
like
35, 20 more years before you would have been doing it. So yeah, back then, but maybe by the time you'd gotten to it, there was much more. But well, X-Files was out, so I'm sure there was.
Oh my gosh, X-Files. I remember, okay, this is like another memory about X-Files. I had double pneumonia and I remember staying up and watching X-Files. But the weird thing about this is that I remember we had like a recliner and I remember sitting upside down on the recliner watching X-Files. I don't know why I have that memory.
Oh, well, I watched X-Files for David Duchovny.
Oh, okay.
There were always reasons I watch it. But that was a good show.
Yeah.
That was a good show, the X-Files, except it got weird in the end.
I don't like the one episode that sticks out to me is where like the little guy and he wheels on like the little board with the little wheels and he like wheels himself around like that like is like I don't know why that's like a memory I have of, like of
actually the one episode of the X-Files out of all of them that creeped me out was the inbred family.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Under the bed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's horrible. I'm sure, but yeah. Anyway, we digress again.
Mrs. Earl.
So, the one thing I actually didn't ask Crow because he doesn't necessarily investigate. Joe, I'm pretty sure I would have talked about it with Joe. But the differences between everybody when they investigate and the equipment they use. Like obviously I've only investigated with you and Jason, so all I did was walk around and hold a what's it called again, the meter.
Oh, the K2 or the
K2. Yeah. So but you guys well, Jason had his iPhone on a thing and that's all he was using, and the cat balls. But I do note that you've got, and actually it's probably, I can see it behind you there, the big suitcase full of stuff. So I know you've got a really U-Butte camera and you've got well, you tell everybody what you've got and what you try to use sometimes.
Okay. So I had started off with a really crappy camera from Amazon. So I have two cameras that are that I got from Amazon. They're my static cameras. And then I have my good camera that I got about a year ago now, just over a year. It's my Sony AX53. It does night vision. It's a really good camera. I love it. I know it's not like anything super, super fancy, but I don't know how, I don't even think I use that camera to its full capabilities anyways, but it's a great camera. And then I have a digital recorder, which it's funny because I don't always get my EVPs off a digital recorder. A lot of the times it comes off my camera audio. But I don't want to give this away because this will be released on whenever this is released.
Yes,
but
this week,
like the next day.
Yeah.
I got some stuff off my digital recorder. So like it surprised me. Yeah. So I was like, I forgot about that. So sometimes I don't know. I do like using it because it's a great tool to have, but I don't necessarily always get evidence off of my digital recorder. I also have a spirit box, which is basically like a radio that flips through stations. I actually really like using it. I know it can be very noisy. I do have like a Bluetooth speaker with a noise gate on it. It's acting up, so I had to figure out how to like troubleshoot that. There's a couple other things I need to add to it to kind of help it not sound so loud and annoying.
What does that do, Kassy?
So the
Bluetooth.
so the spirit box is hooked up to the noise gate into the Bluetooth speaker. So basically, the Bluetooth speaker is acting as like the speaker to
I'm with you.
hear it, and then the noise gate cancels out like
All
that really like the noise. So there is another. It's not the reverb. It's I can't.
I know the thing you're thinking. That's the one that goes wah, 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 wah. I don't like it. It hurts my ears.
There's something else. There's another thing that's not the reverb. There's something else I'm going to add to it so that it will help it a little bit more clear. I cannot think on top of my head. I have it in my cart to buy for Amazon, but I just haven't got it yet. So anyways, let's call it like basically like a portal because it just helps with.
It helps clear up the pieces a bit. Yep.
Yes, exactly. So I love the Spirit Box. I also have like a Bluetooth headphone, so I can do that. Obviously, I use an auxiliary cord, so I use it for sensory deprivation. I do have cat balls, but mine have like died, so I have to get more. So
I've got a new packet. I'll bring it with me in April.
Okay. Well, I actually have in my Amazon cart. I have like 15 of them, and it's like super cheap. So I don't know if I'm gonna buy them yet. I have to figure it out. But anyways, so cat balls I like using because but with cat balls you have to kind of be careful because if they're dying and they do go off,
they'll go off
a lot, right? So you kind of have to be careful with that. Trying to think. I have a grid light, which is I know there's like fancier grid lights out there, but I have one that it's like a flashlight that it is a grid light, and then. I put it on a little tripod and then use that. That just helps.
So does a grid light that basically helps if something's in a particular area, you can pick it up better, like you know where it is?
Yeah, so like say you'll be able to see like a shadow move or something, or that's abnormal.
Similar to the laser grid. Is that what you're talking about? Laser grid?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's like fancier ones that have like the heat sensor with a little thing. Mine's like it was like just Amazon put together kind of thing with like contraptions. Like it's but I don't use it that often because I literally have to tape it on. I press the button in and I tape it because it's not you have to like hold it. So mine's like the cheap version. Like guys, you don't have to go expensive. So just saying. And I'm trying to think what else I have. I have like my music box, which is like I'm like torn on it now because I've been using it and it's like, is it going off because of other things? I don't know. So now I'm like mixed reviews on this music box right now.
Again, people watch the Mackie Mansion episode because in the Mackie Mansion episode that goes off a lot, which kind of is in and your spirit box. That's where we got that really interesting when we asked the question, and that was spooky. But you guys, if guys who have seen the episode know what we're talking about, and if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it because interesting. Sorry, I interrupted again. Go.
Oh no, it's okay. Like that was weird. Like the with the spirit box of Mackie, like that was probably my weirdest experience I think I've ever had through a spirit box. That was so bizarre.
Yeah.
Other than the sensory depth. Also from Mackie, guys, just watch Mackie's episodes. There's 3-parter. Watch Jason's in particular because it's pretty funny.
Yeah, slow motions of Kassy reacting. Yeah. It's
hilarious. So music box, and then I do have some REM pods. The REM pods, I've only really had them go off once that were a little bit weird. They rare. I don't know if it's just like mine are not sensitive enough or they just are REM pods. But the thing with the equipment though, guys, is mostly it's experiments. Like I don't like take everything for face value. Like if I had a REM pod go off, I'm not going to automatically be like, oh, it's a ghost. I'm going to try to like rule out what's around.
Could be interfering.
Yeah. Because in one episode, I had investigated my parents' house because my mom, I feel like it was someone just passing through my mom's house because she would get like cigarette smoke out of the blue and things would like a light would move and stuff. So she like, just come over to my house and see what you can find. I think it's just someone passing through. My papa smoke, so who knows? It could have been my papa. But the Wi-Fi router was setting off the REM pod, so we had to like rule that out. Yep. So you have to really be careful of like what you're doing and not just take everything in for face value. Another thing I like using is I'm trying to think. I use apps, but I'm selective. So I do use Spirit Talker. I don't necessarily take that as face value. I just use it as a reference because sometimes it's very weird and it kind of lines up with questioning. I don't really know the science behind apps, but I kind of like using it even just like for conversation starter. Like it kind of gives us like a way to like branch off into like a question period. It might not have been accurate, but it kind of gives us more questions because you can only ask so many questions. So it kind of is helpful if it, it's
helpful to have a conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, even if it really is only a one-way one.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm trying to think what else I have. I think I did do some experiments with 2 dolls, but they were busts. Yeah. So I don't want to give away something that I did an investigation.
Yeah.
Not the next episode, like a couple episodes, like a whole different location. I think we've debunked the doll.
Okay, cool.
So I don't, but I'm gonna leave that for that video. So there's that. I'm trying to think what else I have that I use.
Yourself for one.
Myself. Yeah, I guess I did definitely use myself. That's actually primarily what, like, you'll see me actually. I noticed in this episode that I'm gonna be releasing. As I was editing it, I realized I see myself pausing a lot and then kind of like looking around and then I ask questions. So I guess I use myself more than I really realized. And watching you do that, I'm like, oh, okay. So
and what I learned initially from watching everybody, because I'd never done anything, but certainly when I was with you guys, particularly at the Washoe Club, you can walk in a room and nothing, go out of that room, go up, do something else, come back, and all of a sudden there's a different feeling. It's different, and it's I guess, like, I would hear you guys talk about that all the time when you would do your investigations, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, now I understand it, because I felt it too. It's kind of like, I think I might have said this to Crow, but it's akin to if you walk into someone's house and you're not aware they've just had an argument, but the old saying of, oh, you could cut the air with a knife. It's kind of like you can feel something and you know something's not right, but you can't put your finger on it. And that's probably because someone's just had a big row or, someone's sat. So it's kind of akin to that, because you walk into a room that 5 minutes previous sort of felt, yeah, whatever. And then you walk in again and it's like, oh, what's going on here? So the human body and our senses are really good at picking that up.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've been on investigate, like, for example, for like my episode that's coming out, like, it literally will change in the moment too. You'll feel like you walk in, you're like so uneasy, and all of a sudden it just everything leaves. It's like the weirdest. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it, because it's such a weird feeling. And I'm like, is it in my? Then you're like thinking, is it in my head? Like I'm feeling like this, but like it's just there's too many weird instances where things have happened, and I realized no, like the thing we really have to trust how we feel. And it's been a long time for me to say out loud what I'm feeling, right? Because like people want to see things getting thrown or like whatever, right? So when you're like
going off and flashing and
exactly, and you just have to trust us that what we're saying is the truth, right? So and that's why it's really important to make sure that you are authentic to yourself and to the paranormal, because otherwise, like, you have nothing if you're in.
No, I know. And you would know too that many episodes we watch of other people, bless their cotton socks, some of them, because they're authentic, but the minute the REM pod goes off, the minute something goes, oh, and it's a spirit and it's a ghost, and they get all excited, and I think, no, just feel first. What are you feeling? Because it might be nothing, because as you know, those things go off just because there's electricity in the wall, or sometimes they can be set off through someone's mobile phone. Sometimes, like you said, with the REM pod, with the modem, the internet modem, you can't just get excited about the equipment going off unless, again, Mackie Mansion guys, and not Mackie Mansion, beg your pardon, the Washoe Club. Watch the episodes on the Washoe Club, but the poker game. That was weird. And that's where, okay, Joe has an argument for all of the equipment. But to me, given that night the equipment wasn't really doing much of anything until we started playing that poker game, and then it lit up on the, like, what that was really weird. So in that instance, again, we reacted to that, but it, it was just that would give me more. Given it all went off, like the two, what are they called again, Kassy? K2 meters.
Oh, the K2s, yeah.
Yeah, the K2s and the REM pod on that seat. It was just really weird. The poker game was interesting. So yes, sometimes, and we were feeling it too. Like it wasn't just the equipment. We were sort of feeling it as well. So sometimes the equipment can back up the feelings that you're having. Now, does that mean there's a ghost hovering over it? I don't know. Nobody knows. But sometimes it can be coincidentally, maybe, but all go off at the same time, and it kind of reinforces what you might be feeling. Whereas sometimes people just aren't really feeling anything, and their K2 goes off or the REM pod goes off, and there's overreactions. So now that I personally have felt all that and seen it done, I kind of think, yeah, guys, it could be, but it might not be. Check what's around it, So I don't get particularly excited watching someone's episode when they overreact to that, unless they're mentioning, oh, gosh, what's that? And then something happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if anybody watches your episodes, Jason's episode, Joe's episodes, if anybody watches those and expects big jump starts and what do you call it? Front, like, ooh, well, you're not going to get it. You jump scare. Yeah, you're not going to get it. You need to go somewhere where they just make things up and enjoy that jump scare.
Exactly.
Because that can be fun to be scared, but just know that that's not really how it works in reality when you're doing an investigation, eh?
Yeah. No, exactly. And the thing with the poker game, I do want to mention about the poker game, is not only were they going off together, but it was coinciding with what we were asking and doing, and then things would go off. So it there was more than just like us feeling things and it going off. It was like us asking questions, us feeling things, it going off, and like it was just it was.
And even when the spirit won his hand at poker, it went. That's when it went off. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was blew my mind.
Yeah, like I don't know how to play poker, so I'm holding up the cards. None of us had looked at the cards, and it all went off. And then so I put the cards down to see what he had then, and he won, whoever it was, or she.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool. So have you got any, I think we've covered all of my 5 haunting questions. So have you got anything, obviously, because this episode is airing the day before yours, so your episode will be tomorrow.
Yes, yep.
And do you want to talk about what the guys should tune in for?
Yeah. So it'll be released Thursday, March 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're from somewhere else, just look up the time zone. But 9 p.m. Eastern. It is the final episode of Cottonwood Mansion, which was a location in Selkirk, Ontario. That location, we were the very first investigators to actually investigate overnight there. Mm-hmm. They've had investigators come in, do ghost walk tours, but it's never been like an overnight thing. So we were the very first team to do that, which was really interesting for us, a unique experience. But there was just so much evidence and footage that surprised me, because in the moment you're like, I mean, we had it for a very long time too. We had it for, I think, 6 hours. So it was we were there for a long time. We were pooped by the end. There was just way more footage that I thought I didn't realize we had. So our very last episode is going to just be just over an hour. I think it's an hour and 10 minutes long. So it's a long one. But you have to stay to the end of the episode. The last 10 minutes will blow your brains out. And I'm not just you'll be blown away. I can't explain what happened. So, and it's not anything visual, just so you guys know.
Oh, don't spoil. Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it.
Well, I'm excited now. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I just finished editing it. Today is Friday. So, but anyways, we're way in the past, but I just finished editing it. It's insane. It really, really surprised me. So we have that's coming up. And then after that, if I can rescue the footage, we did an undisclosed location, our undisclosed massage clinic location. So I when I went to go look at the footage, it all had the broken sign. So I had to hopefully fix it. So if not, that's not going to be an episode, we got another episode called Chase Manor. So that is a collab with Paranormal XP and Tommy Amongst the Tombstones.
Oh, yes,
I'm not really sure when that's being released. I'm not. That's
well, I
probably
believe
like
you and Tommy
April.
are going to sort of release it about the same time, so you can.
Yeah. So maybe April, mid-April, and then if you guys follow us, you probably know this, but we have a huge trip coming up end of April into May with obviously Karen and Jason from Cemetery Road. So so that's kind of what's happening with Weeping Willow Paranormal, and I'm very excited. So
well, you're not the only one who's excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait. And this time, at least, I'm bringing some equipment. My little friends. I don't know what they'll do. Where is he? There he is.
You never know.
I'll bring them both. Thank you. But yeah, I've got a little bit of stuff I can bring, and we'll just give it a go. But yeah, so we're going to a few locations, guys, and Kassy. So if you subscribe to Kassy's channel, Weeping Willow, Jason's channel, The Cemetery Road, my channel, Doof Doof Paranormal. When I'm over there, when we're all together, we're going to be doing random live streams. We'll put up short little videos probably, and just keep you all in the loop of what we're doing. And I'm pretty sure we're going to do a live stream from each location when we actually arrive and we're there. So you guys will know where we are and go, and then, of course, there'll be episodes from everybody on that later. But it's super exciting. And look, Kassy, thank you so much. You're my third guest, my first female guest. Woohoo! Girl power. So yeah, thank you very much. And hey, everybody, Kassy's episode is tomorrow, so please tune in for that. As she said, 9:00 on her end, but if you just click on the link for her episode, it'll tell you what time it's airing, and hit the notify me button. And thank you, Kassy, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.